This week I have a marketing tip for you and your private investigation or process serving business. Hi, Larry Kaye here with ShadowAnyone.com and the creator of the Investigator's Ultimate Guide series, premium private investigator training from someone who's been there and done that. And this comes actually directly from more than one email that I've gotten. Now, one guy in particular was struggling a little bit with this, and it's marketing your services and sending out letters to potential clients. Now, if you've gotten any of my courses, every course I have at least a little bit, a good little chunk about marketing your services, because arguably, not even arguably, that's the hardest part of this business. Finding people, following people, serving people, that's all very doable. Getting the clients, getting the business is the hardest part. So I always include some marketing stuff in every one of my training guides. But specifically, if you follow me for any length of time, you know that I'm big on snail mail. I like to mail letters to potential clients. And, so I got an email from someone who got one of my courses, and he said, I'll paraphrase a little bit, but this is basically the gist of it is, hey, Larry, I sent out 34 letters 3 days ago, and I haven't gotten any calls. Oh, wow. That does not surprise me. You won't. A direct mail campaign, and that's what it's called when you're mailing letters to potential clients. A 1% response rate is pretty darn good, to be honest with you. I mean, there'll be people who tell you should be pulling maybe 2-3% response rate. Okay, great. If you're pulling a 3% response rate from a direct mail campaign, you are a rock star. Forget about it. Get out of private investigation or process serving business and go do direct mail, because there are people who would love that kind of response rate. But my point is that you're looking for about a 1% response rate maybe. So if you mail 100 letters, you're looking to get one call from somebody. So to mail, say, oh, I've mailed 34 letters and it's been 3 days and I haven't got any calls. It breaks my heart that you would expect that you would, but you're not going to. You have to mail a lot of letters, and so today's big tip is, how many letters do you got to mail in order to get a call, in order to get a client out of this? Hundreds. Now you can narrow this down and you can increase your response rate a couple of different ways. One is to have a really good letter, and part of that is to have a really good offer in it and some really good content in that letter. And I talk about this in my training materials, but your company name, they probably don't care about, even your credentials initially. So if you go, Joe's Investigative Service, 17 years experience, former federal agent, call, me at, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, whatever. They don't care. There's nothing in it for them. Talk about what's in it for them, a headline, and what offer can you make them? What are you going to do for them? That's going to be a much more effective letter. That's going to get you more calls out of 100 letters than just putting your name and phone number and your credentials. There's a time and place for that, but probably not initially. Also, a thing that's going to increase your response rate, probably better than anything, is to have kind of that targeted list. To be sending these letters to law firms specifically, or maybe companies doing background checks if that's your thing. Whatever it is, to send specifically to them. If you just mailed 100 letters to 100 businesses up and down Main Street, 98 of them are not going to know or think they need a private investigator. You're throwing away letters. But with law firms, for example, there are specific law firms that are much more likely to need a private investigator or a process server than other law firms. So target your mailings towards them. Again, I cover this all in my paid training, but I'm just saying, I'm a big fan of direct mail. There's something about getting a letter in the mail with a real stamp, maybe the address has even been written on it by hand. That's going to get opened by somebody at that law firm, as opposed to all the stuff that gets thrown in the trash. Compare that to sending out an email blast or something. You are just at this point a spammer. I don't care if you call it something besides spam. People like to say, well, I do a cold email list. That's still spam to me. And if I get, what do you do? What do you do when you get something in your email box and you look and I don't recognize this person? You delete it as quick as you can, if it even makes it to your real legitimate inbox. So snail mail is the thing that I particularly like to use. There are other methods and things you can use too, but there's just really nothing, a billboard is so expensive and so hit and miss. I'd rather take that money and put it in letters directly to the people that I most want to work for, offering them a solution to a problem that I know they have. See how powerful that is? But the bottom line, I want to circle back real quick and say, how many letters do you got to mail? Hundreds of them. Mail a lot of letters, and it's not always just a one-time shot either. The clients that I've worked for, and the clients that when I try to get clients, those law firms, every 30 days, whether I hear from them or not, whether they've hired me or not, if I've got a letter to send out, I'm going to send it to them. And eventually, when they need someone who offers the services that you do, there's a much better chance they're going to call you because they've gotten 3, 4, 6 letters from you versus everybody else who really hasn't done anything to reach out to them. Maybe another detective agency has taken out an ad in the Bar Association magazine or something, and they kind of see it every now and then, every month when they flip through. But your letters are going to be much more effective than that, and probably a lot cheaper as well. This is Larry Kaye with ShadowAnyone.com. Remember, do the right thing, even if it's the hard thing.